Meghan Markle's new Netflix show With Love Meghan had premiered about a week or so ago, and it really wasn't well received, as you can tell by the Rotten Tomatoes score. Right now, I have it pulled up, and it has a 20% audience score, and more surprisingly, a 36% for critic score, because even the media doesn't seem to like her show. Now, this is a slight improvement from where I saw it, because I saw a low at around 12%. So I guess this is better than 12%, but still it's pretty low. But despite all that, I did hear news that this show got picked up for a second season, but that may not actually be the good news that Meghan Markle and Harry might be actually hoping for, because it's looking like right now Netflix is kind of on the fence about whether or not they want to renew their contract with the royal couple following this latest disaster for their streaming platform. Netflix leaves Meghan Markle hanging over contract renewal. Meghan Markle's Netflix deal has not been renewed, and bosses at the streaming giant are worried by scathing reviews of her new show With Love Meghan, which may hit their investment in her homewares line. As ever, a new report has claimed. The Daily Mail also says that the announcement of a second season of the show is perhaps less of a triumph than it may have at first seemed, given the two seasons were filmed back to back. So when I first heard about this getting renewed for a second season, I was thinking maybe Netflix was like, well, we already are contracted with them to have shows. This is relatively cheap for us to produce, so let's just continue on with it. Even though it's not doing great, we're kind of obligated to do some stuff with them. So let's just continue on with it. But if they shot it back to back and they already have it in the can, then I can understand why they just decided to pick it up for a second season. It's either that, or they can just write it off for their taxes as a loss for the company. So maybe they're thinking like, well, I guess it's better off just to kind of put it out there and see what happens. But one thing that they don't have to do is continue their work with the royal couple, something that I'm sure right now they're probably regretting, because so far the couple has produced a number of shows for them that really haven't been that successful. The first one, Harry and Meghan, you can see that has an even worse score than Meghan Markle's show with a 19% for audiences, but 45% for critics. So it's a little bit better received on that end. This was the documentary. Then Harry had another documentary that came out fairly recently about polo, and that has a 26%. And the thing about all these shows that they've worked on for Netflix is that a lot of people are pointing out that they just feel like they're very out of touch and come from the perspective of people who are elites in society. And this is something that a lot of people don't like about them, is that they give off the impression that they're just so much above everyone else, even though they try to present themselves, especially with Meghan's latest show, that no, we're just regular people, just like you and me. We all just live in our mansions and have celebrity friends and things like that. And that's one of the reasons why a lot of people don't like Meghan Markle's show, is just, it just seems so elitist and out of touch, despite her trying to act like she is just a regular, everyday, relatable person. The Daily Mail also says that the aforementioned, okay, I already said that. The show has already dropped out of Netflix's global top 10 most watched shows globally less than a week after its massively hyped and publicized release, a development which casts huge doubt over Meghan's attempt to hold attention without serving up sensational royal secrets as she did in the hit documentary Harry and Meghan. The one that I already showed you didn't do too well and actually performed worse than this one, except amongst critics. And that's a large reason why a lot of people think Netflix gave them that huge $100 million deal, because they basically wanted to have the scoop on all the dirty secrets coming out of the royal family. But they pretty much gave them everything with that first documentary. And then Netflix is like, well, is that it? Is that all you got? We still have to pay you for future things. All right, what are we going to do? Harry wants to do a documentary about one of the more like aristocratic sports out there in existence. Yeah, fine. I guess he can do that. Now Meghan wants to just cut up fruit and put it on a platter in the form of a rainbow. I guess she can do that too. I mean, that's probably what the executives over at Netflix are thinking. And now that it looks like that it's done, we're like, wait, you mean we fulfilled our obligation to them so we don't have to continue working with them? Yeah, I can see why they're looking for a way out in this situation. As Tina Brown, the founding editor of the Daily Beast, said today in her Fresh Hell newsletter, the only reason any of these deals were signed was for low down dish on the Royals. Mail Online cited an insider at Netflix as saying of the show, I know they filmed the show back to back, so in theory there was no good season. There was no second season. It's like with lots of Netflix shows, it is already in the bag at the same time as the first one. What this does is allow edits to be made to the show from feedback from press and Netflix viewers. It's clever and cost effective. So no, the overall contract hasn't been renewed yet. And that does seem like a pretty good idea. They see how the reaction to the first season, and if there's some tweaks that they can do with it behind the scenes before they get the second season out there, make those adjustments to it and then put it out there. And it supposedly should be better. But it seems like they're looking at what they've seen with the first season, and there's really no tweaks that they can actually do that can drive in viewership because people just don't like her, period. That's basically it, end of discussion. So no matter how many edits you do to this, you're not going to make people all of a sudden like Meghan Markle or want to watch her show. That it's pretty much useless right now. And the only reason they would actually put it out there is they're just probably weighing the pros and cons. Like I said, either writing it off as a write-off for losing money for the company, or they can just continue with it and maybe make something of it at a later date. Who knows? Meghan and Netflix have partnered in a lifestyle brand as ever, and the source said Netflix bosses are all worried now because they have invested a lot in the product line. They don't know when and how to roll it out at all. The products, which is also listed online without prices on Meghan's new website, server.com, are due to debut in Netflix's new IRL mail stores. And this could be another reason why Netflix is not willing to just ditch the second season altogether, because they were pretty much trying to create a brand and merchandise and other things like that in conjunction with this. So by ditching the second season now before it even premiered, it's basically going to be ditching all that other stuff as well. So they're thinking like, well, we got a lot riding on this one, so let's just try to salvage what we can with it. But it really doesn't look like it's going to do much better. I'm sure a lot of people behind the scenes there are looking at all the numbers, but still, I mean, no one likes Meghan Markle. I mean, that's just plain and simple. And it's not even just on this side in this country. I'm in the US here, but apparently even in the UK, people just don't like her either. I mean, it's this article from Slate of all places. I would think that they would be more friendly to her since she's trying to push the feminist, racial minority cards and stuff like that all the time. And yet Slate is not willing to even give her the benefit of the doubt in this one. Meghan Markle's new Netflix show has been savage. It's even worse here in Britain. And I'm not going to go into this whole article right now, but it basically just goes into not only do a lot of the critics over in the UK just completely savage this show as being something out of touch and very generic and bland, but also just a lot of people are saying pretty much what I've been saying, is that she just seems somewhat like someone who's phony and out of touch, trying to promote a lifestyle image of herself. And this is someone who acts like she did, the old South Park meme where it's like, oh, we want our privacy, but they're just going on this worldwide privacy tour. That's obviously an exaggeration, but this is essentially what she's been like, where she just wants to try to present herself as just an everyday person who is just exceedingly wealthy, but she's not trying to flaunt that, despite the fact that that's exactly what she does in her show. Just basically using this huge mansion as a set, because it's not even their mansion. They live in an even bigger mansion, but they tried to get a smaller mansion, but still a very nice one, in order to present that their show, to make them seem a little bit more relatable. But a lot of people were saying like, this isn't realistic. This is not how people act. I mean, if you were just to try to be a television presenter, then that's one thing. But no, she's trying to almost market it as if like this is just her everyday life, and no one's buying it. And that's pretty much the biggest problem here. It's just the most inauthentic thing, trying to masquerade as something authentic. And I don't know what Netflix can do if they wanted to try to turn this around. I think it would all be up to Meghan to try to actually salvage her own image. But I think this is something that she's incapable of doing, because she's just a very off-putting and unlikable person, or at least everything that we've seen her do since she's pretty much stepped into the public spotlight has been like that. And I mean the public spotlight, not all those Hallmark movies that she used to do prior to just basically marrying rich. But let me know what you think about all this in the comment section below. Do you think they should have just canceled the show outright, or do you think they should have just tried to salvage what they can from it? And also, if you haven't already, Make sure you click that subscribe button if you want to stay up to date with the latest entertainment news. And don't forget to click the like button and share this video out there because it really helps out with the channel. Thank you.